Hey Dan, Norton. I meant to get back to you a little sooner, but like my job and taking care of my house kind of take precedent to reading a script. I just finished part one, and the battle at the end of part one, quite interesting. You can see the special effects and everything coming out. The what'd you call them, DOBs or something. I had a hard time picturing it at first, and then I realized, oh, it's like a transformer. It's like a pod, and then these arms come out, and then it makes like a bubble shield thing, and then you get leapfrogging bombers to blanket. That'll be nice to see. I think if you like see the one, and then you see the leapfrogging bombers go out to the adjacent DOBs, and then as you pan back, I guess, or zoom out, and you can see them just keep leapfrogging across and just like blanketing the surface. I think that'd be a good image to get across. As far as character development goes, I'm not sure if you wanted to keep the feel of the different races similar, because they kind of do this in Star Trek. Like all of the races of the Federation of Planets have there's a commonness to their tone and behavior and to their language, but each specific species has its own idiosyncrasies. Each one is kind of what do I want to say, some sort of like a stereotype almost. Like the Vulcans all are the same, and the Ferengi are all kind of the same, even though there's little individual differences. The most varied behavior you get from humans, and then the other races are all kind of like just a particular part of human behavior. They're focused on that. So when you set up your races, I'm not sure if you want to make them real similar because they've been interacting for however many years and their cultures kind of mesh together and learn behavior and all that, or if you wanted to keep them distinct, to have them to have distinct races. There wasn't enough dialogue in part one for me to get that feeling. There was one scene, I think, with the who is it? No. Orbiters. Albert, yeah. You've got an alien named Albert. I'm not sure if that's such a wise decision. The Raconians, I think? Yes, private anonymous space, and there's dancing female. Dancing female Raconians. I'm not sure if you wanted to have that scene to give the Raconians a feel of, I don't know, they're kind of lustful or something. I'm not sure. Otherwise, the scene looks a bit gratuitous. I'm not sure exactly if you wanted what kind of a feeling you were trying to get from it, but it just seemed gratuitous to me. And oh yes, the first conversation with any weight to it is a family picnic debate about whether somebody's named Nevin or Uncle Frank, which is probably not the best way to start a movie, considering how much of a visual impact the battle sequence you described is at the end. I think something like that would definitely be better to open up a movie than a picnic. There's also a character, the Amplian General, who not only is he involved with the president before the president's killed, but he's also the one talking to the council when it convenes over the over communications. His part, he's the only one here that I've seen so far that's got some substantial character to him, and he's not even named. He's just Amplian General. I would suggest expanding his character a little bit. Because I liked him immediately from. He's only in here for a little bit, but I immediately liked him. So, what other suggestions do I have? Yeah, some of the you're describing some of the infrastructure of this world that you've created. There's like a tour guide on some observation satellite, stuff like that. I'll suggest I'm going to pull from Star Trek again. You don't have to. In a novel form, you do kind of have to be explicit about how things work as they pertain to the story in order to create the image in the reader's mind. But in a movie format, you can give them the image that you want. So you don't have to describe to them that these asteroids that are used for communication purposes, that they are in fact stationary. You don't need a tour guide to explicitly say that this body isn't rotating relative to the solar system, in order to stay synchronous so that these things are always pointed at the planets where we want. You don't have to explicitly explain that. The workings of the technology can, if it looks like it's working, that's good enough. Like in Star Trek, I was like, oh yeah, warp coils and dilithium crystals, and you've got the chamber with the lights going up and down. Clearly it's working. You don't even have to question it. You've already got the viewer to believe that it's working. So you don't have to explicitly describe the workings of the machinery of this technological infrastructure. Just the characters need to act like, yes, it's working. It's got to look like, oh, it's working, and then we can just say, oh, it's working, and just take it for granted. Let's see, anything else? I'll read part 2 and get back to you. I don't think I mentioned anything specific enough to worry about making this private. I'll make it public at first. Get back to me, and I'll turn it private if you want.